Hello everyone and welcome back again. In this session we'll start looking on the concrete ingredient, the main concrete ingredients in more details. In the previous section we started with introduction about the concrete technology. We define what is concrete, the history of the concretes, what are the concrete ingredients in general, and where do we normally use the concrete or the application of the concrete, and what makes concrete different than any other construction material. And here are some of the advantages or what makes concrete different than any other construction material. So today we will go in more details about the concrete ingredients. The modern concrete ingredients here is concrete is composed mainly of cement and especially Portland cement together with aggregate and water. So we discussed already this one before. So concrete is made of cement, water, and aggregate. These are the three main ingredients to produce any concrete. And we have the two aggregate, we have fine aggregate and we have coarse aggregate. The fine aggregate is the sand, the coarse aggregate is the gravel or the stone or the rocks or whatever you can call it. So, but together consider as aggregate inside the concrete. In addition to these three main ingredients, which is the basic material to produce any concrete, we might also have something we call it extra material or we call it admixtures. So what is admixtures? Admixtures is any additional material that can be added together with this basic material in order to improve the quality of the concrete, improve the properties of the concrete and the performance of the concrete. And this one you might or might not use this material, the admixtures material, but these are the main ingredients: cement, water, and aggregate. So concrete is composed mainly of cement and especially Portland cement, because we have different types of cement also, but the Portland cement is the most common used type of cement in normal concrete. Aggregates with a fine aggregate, coarse aggregate, water, in addition to the admixtures if necessary. So we have the sand here, in other words, fine aggregate, the coarse aggregate, water, and the Portland cement. These different material can be mixed in different ratios, and the percentage of these material are different from one to another. We don't actually mix the concrete in the same way and the same volume. No, the concrete is mixed in different ratio, and these ratios affecting the strength of the concrete. So the concrete is mixed with different ratio based on what is your target strength. We might get concrete with 30 megapascal compressive strength. The mixed proportion of the 30 megapascal, it will be different than the mixed proportion of concrete with 40 megapascal, 50 megapascal compressive strength. So the mixed proportion, the ratios between the cement, aggregate, and water, the percentage are different from one to another compressive strength, your target compressive strength. But if we are talking in general, here is the range, the percentage range of each ingredient or each material in the concrete. Starting with the cement, the percentage of the cement volume inside the concrete are ranging between 7 to 14%. And the cement here is a binder material. If you do remember here in the previous session, we have discussed that concrete is not a new science. It has been used over hundreds or thousands of years ago. And the concrete, the main idea of the concrete, that is a binder material. There's a binder material. When mixed with water, hardened over time. It gained the strength over time. So the mix in the binder material in that way, in the previous way, or in 100 or 1,000 years ago, we had an example. For example, for the Greece and Cyprus, they used the lime mortar, lime material as a binder material. For example, in the history of the Romans, they used the volcanic ash and lime as a binder material. That is binder material. For the pyramids in Egypt, they use gypsum as a binder material that is hardened over time. This is the concrete that has been used over thousands and hundreds of years ago. But the modern concrete now, the current concrete, they are using cement as a binder material that is hardened over time. And the percentage of the binder material here are ranging between 7 to 14%. The second material here is the aggregate. And the percentage of the aggregate volume in the concrete are ranging between 60 to 70%. And you can see that majority of the concrete volume are coming from the aggregate, with the fine aggregate, sand, or coarse aggregate, the gravel. So aggregates volume are ranging, the percentage of the aggregate is ranging between 60 to 70%. Then we go with the water. The water volume are ranging between 14 to 22%. And lastly is the admixtures, the extra material that you can add together with these main ingredients, and it's roughly, it can go up to 2%. Among different percentage, you can see that aggregate, majority of the concrete are aggregate. We have here the concrete ingredients: cement, water, sand, and coarse aggregate. So if we mix cement with water, if we mix only cement with water, then we start to call it paste or cement paste. If we mix cement, water, and sand or fine aggregate, then we start to call it mortar. So from now and on, if you start hearing, you will start hearing paste, mortar, concrete, then you need to know what do we mean by these things. Like if I say mortar, you know that the mortar is a mixture of cement, water, and sand. We don't have a gravel in the mortar mixtures. If you heard me say paste, or if you heard anyone say paste or cement paste, then it means that we only mix the cement with water. It's a mixture of cement with water. And if we mix cement, water, sand, and coarse aggregate, then we start to call it concrete. So concrete is a mixture of cement, water, sand, and gravel. These are the 4 ingredients. Then we start to call it concrete. So from now on, you need to differentiate between what do we mean by paste, what do we mean by mortar, and what do we mean by concrete. The same here. This one, it shows the concrete ingredients, the percentage or the volume ingredients in the mixtures. This is a gravel, coarse aggregate. This is sand or fine aggregate. This is a water, and this is cement. And we might also have voids in the mixtures. And you can see here that majority of the concrete mixtures are sand and gravel, which is aggregate. This is fine aggregate, and this is coarse aggregate. So you can see that majority of the concrete volume, the aggregate has the higher volume in the mixtures. Then we have water, which is occupied an average of 18%. Then 10% will go for the binder material, which is cement. We might also have 6% or less voids in the mixtures. Base is a Portland cement mixed with water. PC is the Portland cement. If the Portland cement mixed with water, then we start to call it paste. Mortar is Portland cement mixed with water and sand or fine aggregate. Then we start to call it mortar. The same goes for the concrete. Concrete is a mixture of Portland cement, water, coarse aggregate, and fine aggregate. In other words, concrete can be made by mixing paste plus aggregate only. How this could happen? Because paste is water plus cement. The water, if we mix water with cement, then we start to call it paste. And the aggregate, we have fine aggregate, which is sand, and we have also coarse aggregate, which is gravel. So paste is cement with water, aggregate, fine aggregate, and coarse aggregate is already included. So we can say here that concrete is made of paste and aggregate. Paste is cement with water, aggregate is the sand and rocks or gravel or whatever you can call it. Here is the same, it shows what do we mean by paste. Paste is the cement mixed with water. We call it paste. Here, mortar, cement, water, and aggregate. For fine aggregate or sand, then we start to call it mortar. And if we mix all of them together, including the gravel, then we start to call it concrete.